Meals on Wheels New Mexico recently launched a new brand called Forage. In this interview, I sit down with Meals on Wheels New Mexico's Chief Strategy Officer, Dennis Plummer, and the Forage Program Manager, Gabe Zamora. I really loved this conversation. The Forage brand is so special. First, they source their ingredients and they sell snacks using local New Mexico companies and farms. They've placed their Byte Technology kiosks in Presbyterian Health hospitals, and all the proceeds from this effort go back into Meals on Wheels New Mexico's program to feed seniors in need. It's really an incredible story, an incredible initiative. And just before this interview, the Forage team actually launched a beautiful cafe at Presbyterian hospitals featuring several Byte kiosks. There's a reading room, there's free coffee, and there's even a little free library. So I hope you enjoy this interview. I certainly did. Dennis and Gabe, thank you for joining us today. We're here to talk about how Meals on Wheels Albuquerque is using the Byte kiosks through your Forage program. So before we dive into the details, why don't you tell us a little bit about Meals on Wheels Albuquerque, the Forage program, and about yourself?
Sure. Thank you so much, Megan. We're glad to be here with you today. Meals on Wheels Albuquerque, when I joined a year and a half ago as the Chief Strategy Officer, it really expressed the desire to reach more people. That includes both the local footprint, but also to expand statewide. So we are now officially Meals on Wheels New Mexico, and we're looking for partnerships around the state. Part of our strategy was to get beyond the stigma that a Meals on Wheels meal is basically old people's cafeteria food, right? So there's a kind of a stigma behind it when in fact over 20, maybe as close as 40% of our meals are from local produce. So we partner with local farmers for not only produce, but also meat products, dairy products. And so it occurred to us that it would be really helpful to develop a side brand to introduce people to the idea that Meals on Wheels New Mexico has true quality products that are also sourced locally. And so that began a longer conversation about what that could look like. One of our board members is the president of the New Mexico Restaurant Association, and she happened to see an email from Byte Technology, shot it over and said, "This looks kind of interesting. What do you guys think?" And so part of my job was to explore, dig in, and research, and then begin to look at how we might use this. And we began to develop our own brand, a side brand called Forage. And Gabe's our director of Forage.
Fantastic. Gabe, tell us a little bit about Forage. Tell us about the concept and then how you're using the Byte Technology kiosks.
So as far as my view on Forage, I've been with Meals on Wheels New Mexico for about 7 years. I worked as a chef. Yeah, so I was in the kitchen quite a bit. And then when the opportunity came up, I thought it'd be a great idea to, with the approach, it was like, well, we're going to introduce a vending machine. I was like, well, a vending machine? I was like, no, it's a fresh food vending machine. I was like, okay, now you got my attention. So now we were thinking, it's like, okay, when they started explaining to it what their ideas were and like what do we want to put into it, and I was really intrigued. It was like, wow, we could really put some good stuff in here, because all we really see in these other machines is, it's either Doritos or Coke or some kind of sugary snack that forces people to get something that they just have to grab on the go. After I did my research with Byte and looking in the back, and when they offered me the position, I started thinking, like, this is such a great idea of a grab and go idea with not just local fresh ideas, but also healthy. It's something that around here no one's really ever seen. And I really just, being part of that idea, and it was just like, wow, what can we do and how can we go further? And, we put all these different things together and ideas as far as, okay, well, how do we unleash this to the public and let them know over here? Like I said, when I started talking, I get really excited and possibly not sidetracked here, but that's really when I came in, was my, let's say, not idea, but I was just like, wow, let's get this thing going.
No, that's fantastic, because that is like, we founded, Byte turns 9 tomorrow. And 9 years ago, we founded the company with that mission of making healthy food much more accessible and making it the most convenient choice, and not kind of your classic vending machine packaged food. So I share that excitement, Gabe.
Yeah, it is. For myself, I was before I worked with Meals on Wheels in New Mexico, I was a personal trainer for a long time. And for me, with the idea of the kiosk the way it is, it's like, wow, I can get people to actually make good choices. Some people just don't like to cook for themselves, but they never have the best idea. And anything in a drive-through, for me, I would love to see these grow in areas that are like gyms or health classes or something like that. It helps them just as much as it helps us.
So shifting gears here a bit, tell us how you're using Byte. How many kiosks do you guys have live, and where are you placing them? What kind of food are you stocking in them?
So we began, our landlord is Presbyterian here in New Mexico. So we had a working relationship established as Meals on Wheels with Presbyterian. And so low-hanging fruit for us was to begin with the various Presbyterian hospitals around town. And we found that there are two options and opportunities there. One is in the cafe area for patients and families when the cafe hours are closed.
Sure.
But even better for us has been the staff break rooms. One in particular is an ER, and we see the sales really spike around 2 and 3 a.m. And there are no options for these health professionals. And the hospitals are, I think you have another case study on this. They're beginning to realize we're sending a mixed message as a health provider when we're putting Doritos and sodas in our vending machines. So they love seeing that as true to their own mission. So that's where we're started. We're beginning to branch out our footprint. As Gabe mentioned, we're wanting to look at gyms. So after an exercise class, people can grab something healthy on the way home. We're in conversations with the international airport in Albuquerque. They don't yet have the standalone kiosks. And as they're looking at other options, what really makes us appealing to them is the trifecta of local, that it's supporting their local farmers, our local product. And so we're buying all New Mexican product to put in our machines. And then again, the social venture of it is all of the profits 100% go to buy meals for people who need them through the Meals on Wheels home delivery system. So the profits go, or the purchase value goes into our local economy, and then the profits go back into feeding other people who also need access to healthy nutrition.
I get goosebumps. It truly is an amazing program. Very impressive. So what kind of food are you guys stocking? You can share like the average price point, what the overall set looks like.
So what we're doing, like a house salad, just personal size house salad, local, a few farms that we work with in here, a few different ones, but they're all local products. We're also doing sandwiches, muffins. Our muffins we get from Santa Fe, New Mexico, as along with the sandwiches is called Chocolate Maven. And then we have a line of snacks, which we call Cosmo Nuts, and Taos bars, is Taos Bakes here in New Mexico. So they're like little energy bars and stuff like that. And then we also have breakfast burritos, red and green breakfast burritos from Three Sisters Kitchen that we use here, and then an orzo salad. And then on our other layer, as far as drinks, we have Blue Fly Farms. It's actually a seltzer water that we have here. They're lavender, rosemary, tulsi, and peppermint.
What are you hearing from your customers? What do they love? What are the kind of like the best sellers for you guys?
The best sellers are actually the seltzer waters. One of the hospitals we work with, they deplete them every week. But the breakfast burritos are actually a big seller. They're very picky with red or green, with their, I don't know how familiar you are with the red and green chili stories out here, but those burritos are really big sellers in the seltzer waters. But we also want to keep it entertaining. We're trying to work like a every 4-week rotation thing. Like, okay, well, what our vendors are capable of and moving stuff in. So we've been working on that. So hopefully we can keep a rotation and keep people happy.
Part of our vision is maybe long-term, that our vendors see real value in having their product displayed in a Forage machine. So we actually could imagine a little bit of a healthy competition among vendors who want their product in our machines, and then announcing quarterly or biannually, like what we're going to, who we're featuring in these machines. So just to give them some profile, it gives us a little bit of a news cycle to announce the new line, and highlights our local partners.
Totally. And Dennis, the beauty of a Byte kiosk is that you're reaching an audience with their full attention, right? It's not like competing for eyeballs in a grocery store aisle among thousands of products. So it's really smart. It's funny, Gabe, that you mentioned breakfast burritos. When in the early days of Byte, when we were operating several hundred of these kiosks, breakfast burritos were just our top seller. And the beauty of it is that we saw you didn't need the rotation within that category, because they're just like that go-to item, either for breakfast or like really any time of the day when you want something that kind of feeds the soul and the belly. So that's funny. It's consistent across our experience as well.
This whole opportunity gave us a reason to not only create the name, but we actually have an entire logo. There's a tagline, good food that does good, and the stories that are behind why the profits are being used the way they are. We have mugs for sale. We have posters designed. We have hats and t-shirts coming so that people really are seeing Forage as a community-driven initiative and that they're proud of that. So it's given us a way to be kind of out there on the front line in a different way. And hopefully that crossover, people begin to recognize the Forage brand and trust it.
Well, let me know when those are for sale. I've got to buy one. I got to get a hold of one of the swag. How's it been working with Byte?
So that's been primarily Gabe as our intermediate. So he's been working with I don't even know what we call Dan, but Dan's been great.
Yeah.
He's our account manager, probably. I don't know. Yeah. So I'll let Gabe tackle that.
A lot of the stuff we're working with Byte, I loved is this, as far as stocking, the ability to get into it, it's very simple. But I love the idea of the open display. I get to planogram the kiosk just the way I want to. I have a thing for putting colors together and kind of setting it up. And I love, every time I finish, when I do my HACCP paperwork and I'm looking at it, I'm like, wow, this draws attention. It's like the way it's clear, the way it's, I wipe it down and it's like, wow, I would visit this thing, and I just kind of, every time I close the door, it's like, this is great. And it's so easy because I see people come through our cafe and it's like, I watch them and it's like, is it clear enough for them to read? They're able to go inside, they click and they can see nutritional facts or what's actually in there. And it's a lot of things that untraditional vending machine wouldn't be able to supply you. You're not going to be able to read those nutritionals until you pay for it and then read the back. Well, in this way, I can actually put it there. They can see what they need and what they want, and it's right in front of them. And they swipe, they go, and I'm able to communicate with them with getting an email. And that's one thing too, is actually getting for them to feel like I can, okay, if something's wrong, if here and there some tags get they read wrong or something, but I can respond. And you don't normally get that from anything else. So I love the technology behind it, but it's also just those little things that make my job easier. That's what I like about working with it.
Fantastic. Anything else of note, guys? I really appreciate your time.
You'd ask about price points for us, and so
yes,
maybe if you could touch on kind of the main categories of like salads. We're running about, I think they're $3.15 for the seltzer waters, and then we do a bottling in-house of a tractor product, which is all organic. Those are around the $2.50 range. Sandwiches and salads are at the $5 to $7 range. Snacks are $3 to $4. So we're trying to stay pretty much under the $8 bar. So we're doing the cost to us and the tag that we add, and then we're trying to hit a 40% margin for us. And some products are under that and some are over, but we're also looking at a total net per machine and looking at what a full turn would yield. And so we're trying to average it, and we're pretty close to a 40% total machine turn average.
How often are you guys restocking the kiosks?
So we go every week. So the products that we're putting on there that need turned every week, because of the spoilage date, everything we get is going to be at least 7 days. And so the canned or the packaged products, we can keep those, so Taos-based seltzer waters, but we're there every week, so we can also replenish those. And then there's a footnote to this too. Our spoilage, we're in partnership with a local shelter. And so even though the date's there, we don't want to waste the product. And so the salad, sandwiches, and burritos, those are all going to the shelter.
Fantastic.
To be consumed. Yeah.
Yes. Oh,
I forget to add that, but that's like a whole.
No, that's
cycle,
huge.
right? Like the big thing.
Yeah.
I mean, in this realm of fresh grab and go food, it's kind of like this unspoken of secret that a lot of it is gone on off the shelves, and where that food that is technically still good goes, it's not oftentimes spoken to. So the fact that you're donating locally is it's fantastic. Kind of that whole life cycle is considered.
And our spoilage, we're trying to keep that, and so far we're on target at 20% or lower. That's on against sales. So by per machine. And then we're doing obviously locations and then the whole collective of all the machines together.
Thank you very much, both of you, for spending
the
time.
For hearing our story. We appreciate it.
The story needs to be shouted from the mountaintops because it's very inspiring what you guys are doing, and just the number of ways that you're positively impacting your local community is fantastic. But food has the power to make just such significant impacts on the environment, people, health, and you guys are probably, prime examples of doing it very well. So kudos to you.
Thank you so much, and we appreciate working with you.